I have this little ditty thing. What's up, you guys, and welcome to the Bougie Sports Podcast. Wait till you see this. Hold on. Wow.
Nicely done.
Are you
done. Yes.
Yeah. That was just for you. That was my first today's guest. And I did all three of those graphics and custom myself.
That was very, very good. I am definitely impressed. Did you do that yourself?
I did. I made the graphics too.
That's very good.
Thank you.
I give it 5 stars.
Awesome.
Wait,
well, enough about
5.
me.
My hand's not in the right place.
Welcome and thank you so much for joining me.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
You guys, my name's Yvette, and if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't know how I'm gonna keep begging because it's so hard to get YouTube subscribers. So, but I'm gonna keep asking you guys. So if you guys can please subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would so much appreciate it. Also, check out bougiesports.com. I have a website. I've had one, kind of like neglected it, but I've been working on it this week. So if you would check that out, I would love that. You can also catch me on the Squad Pod with Lana and Lysandra next week. And then next week, again, I'm coming on with Troy. God, I can't think of his last name right now. God, you'll know who I'm talking about. Good job, Yvette. So yeah, Scott, I have, first of all, let me get some of your accolades out here. I have them pulled up here. 20-year veteran of the fantasy industry, inaugural member of the Fantasy Sports Writer Association Hall of Fame, 4-time FSWA award winner, and 13-time finalist, writer for the Seahawks. 10 years later, I could go on and on and on. Amazing career there in fantasy sports.
Yeah, thanks. My main hub right now is thegameday.com, and you can also check me out on Rotoballer. I've been there for over 4 years. Been with Seahawks.com on the fantasy page, News Fantasy Insider since 2012. Over 20 years in the industry, and thanks for highlighting that. I've been having a little bit of fun with this for a minute.
20 plus years to be exact.
Yeah. Actually 20. It's more than that, but I'm only like 26 years old, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since you came out of your mom's, and you just started writing fantasy.
Just a little longer than that, yeah.
Yeah, a tad.
A little bit.
So, how do you get into the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame?
Well, you got to be in the industry for 10 years, and usually the criteria is not only an accomplished body of work, but really the big thing is like helping other people in the industry. And it's something that I've always liked to do, because I remember when I was starting out, I always wanted people to help me. So anybody that I could help out, break into the industry, because it's not easy. It's some people say my dream is to write fantasy sports full time. I'm like, well, that's hard to do. There are only a few full-time jobs, and the people that have them aren't really gonna give those up. You have to be diverse. You have to have wide, a wide amount of abilities, I think, and if you can be multi-platform, if you're sports betting as well, if you can do regular sports. And really, I think writing is important because everybody wants to get into video and audio, but if you can write well, and it's so competitive now in the fantasy industry, but if you can write well, you can always hang your hat somewhere and then just go from there. If you can communicate well effectively from a writing basis, then everything else will come with it.
Great. So in their 20 plus years in the fantasy industry, what are the biggest changes you have seen? And with those, which ones do you think are positive and which ones do you think are negative?
Positive, obviously, is the growth. I mean, it's just so mainstream. It's to think of the positive, and you saw it out at the Fantasy Football Expo. The positive is just a community. It's like even though we're competitive with each other, we're all friends, and colleagues with each other, and everybody tries to help each other out, even though we're all trying to scramble for dollars as businesses, etc. The negative, I think, is just what we were talking about. I think it's very competitive, so you have to be prepared to, maybe financially do something else for a while and do this on the side, and you got to be patient with it because it's a long road to get where you want, or just to fight for eyeballs and fight for followings.
With that being said, like, is it offensive for someone with all your accolades for someone like me to put on my head as like I'm a fantasy football expert like slash genius?
No, because
What do you feel about like everyone thinking that they are a fantasy football slash expert slash genius?
well, you know what you're talking about. So it's certainly not offensive. Um,
Yes.
I don't find it offensive. It's because I'm not bougie when it comes to being a fantasy football analyst. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
I don't claim to know everything. I lean on other fantasy experts. If I have a tough lineup question, I might pick up the phone and call you on a Sunday and say, "Hey, what do you think between Kenneth Gainwell and AJ Dillon?" Because you can't just assume that you know everything. You can't be arrogant about it. And there are people in this industry like Hutchinson Brown. He's under 20 years old, I think, and he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. Why would I be offended by that? It shows that the industry is getting passed down and it continues to grow.
Yes. Speaking of him, I got a chance to meet him as well at the Fantasy Football Expo, which I did meet Scott there, which people that are watching do not know about this Fantasy Football Expo is actually held in my home state of Ohio, in Canton, Ohio, at the Football Hall of Fame, and it was an amazing event. I loved it. I'm so happy I went, and I can't wait to go next year.
Yeah, I wish they did them a few times a year. It was
Yeah.
so much fun. It's like a big fraternity party, a giant
It is.
fraternity party for the fantasy football industry. It's like a giant party. It's like it's intoxicating. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't party there at all.
Nah,
No,
you
not
were kind of
me.
reserved. You just sat in the corner.
I was just quiet, shy.
Yeah.
No,
No,
that's-
you
I didn't-
you
yeah.
you were like a lightning rod.
Well, it was like a field trip, and you're like excited when you're a kid, you're going to go on a field trip that day and you get all excited and then you,
Yeah.
you get there and
It's like you were having so much fun that so many people were just drawn to you. Because when you have a good time, everybody else wants to have a good time with you. So, and I
yeah,
think there are a lot of other people like that too. But you were just doing your thing off to the corner. Nobody noticed you. But some people were having so much fun. Like Britt Flynn. That's like that people just want to hang out with them. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah.
And I must say that it's Troy King that's coming on next week and I'm so
Ah,
sorry.
Troy is actually new over at rotoborgle.com. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
yes. So he's going to be on next Wednesday, and then I'm going to have the Women of Fantasy Football, Kelly's, and then Scott Fish. So
Oh, big
what?
big time.
Look at me out
Yeah.
taking my coverage. Yes, awesome.
I'm not drinking beer, but
You're not
I'll toast you Dr. Pepper. So
awesome. Well, it's earlier for you. You're in? Are you still in Las Vegas?
no,
You,
I'm in New York. I'm based
are you
out
in
of
New
New
York?
York.
Oh, okay. Why did I think
I
you're in
what's
Las
that?
Vegas?
I don't know. I'm a New Yorker. I mean, I'm a Seahawk fan, but I'm a New Yorker, born and raised. I'm a Mets fan and a Knicks fan otherwise, but
Yes.
a lot of New Yorkers root for out of town football teams, and I'm one of them.
Well, Scott, you just kind of led me into my next segment. I mean, speaking of New York and Seattle, Monday Night Football. Wow. What an ass spanking the Seattle Seahawks gave to the New York Giants. I mean, the last month, I mean, I had the Steelers Browns Monday Night Football. So, but you're a Seattle fan, so you're on the other end of that. Let's see, 24-3.
Yep.
Rookie, right? Devin Weathersman led your defense. You were at
97,
that game.
97-yard touchdown return. It's the second longest in Seahawks franchise history. I was at the game covering for Seahawks.com. Check out my article about the defense on the site. Interviewed several players to talk about that. 11 sacks, tied a franchise record, and fantasy wise led all defenses with 30 points this week. I actually recommended them on the GameDay.com, so ended up being a good call. The defense just really dominated. I spoke to Uchenna Nwosu after the game, and he said that really the key was stopping the run early. Even though Barkley didn't play, they knew they were going to try to run the ball to take pressure off of Daniel Jones, and then Jones could be free up to scramble too. And once they made the team one-dimensional, Nwosu said, then they can pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, and that's exactly what they did.
You mentioned Saquon Barkley. Do you think if Saquon Barkley was in that game, that would have made a bigger impact for the Giants?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're a different team with Barkley. It's like Nwosu said, they became one-dimensional. You can't make the Giants one-dimensional when they have Saquon Barkley, because then you have him and you got the mesh point, you got the running quarterback, you got the RPO, etc. That said, the Giants still have problems throwing the ball downfield. They have to get Jalen Hyatt more involved, because the that rookie, he's just so explosive. I saw him in the preseason. NFL.com compared him to Deshaun Jackson, and they throw to Paris Campbell, who was averaging like 4.3 yards per reception coming in, and they really don't have anybody that scares the defense. The Seahawks completely shut Darren Waller down, and nobody else gets threatened in the secondary.
I was going to say someone he definitely is not throwing the ball into is someone that I reached for in almost every single one of my fantasy football leagues this year, which is Darren Waller. What the hell? Like, is it over? What's the outlook for someone like me who picked up Darren Waller? Is it over for him, or are there going to be any type of chance he'll have a connection or chemistry looking forward?
I think tight end's just a worse disaster last year, fantasy wise. Unless you have Kelsey, Andrews, or Hawkinson, and maybe Evan Engram, like where do you really go every week? It's like you just hope you're getting decent points. I mean, look at Kittle. Kittle's been bad. Pitts has been bad. Goddard's been awful. Fantasy
Yes.
wise. With Waller, looks like defenses are really trying to take him away, because they got to have somebody else to threaten the defense. That's why I mentioned Jalen Hyatt. So, unfortunately, as much as I want to tell you something positive about Darren Waller, I don't know if I can, because he might have some spike games, but he looks like he's going to be unreliable.
Well, and you mentioned another tight end. I mean, since we're there, Kyle Pitts, I have in the Scott Fishbowl. Oh, he's horrible. I was like one of the people that are like, he's going to be good, or just hoping for that matter, but he was.
It's
But
interesting because Jesse Morse, the fantasy doctor on Twitter, was actually saying this week that that uh, that he thinks that maybe Kyle Pitts isn't fully healthy. I mean, he's getting outplayed by Geno Smith.
Well, I mean, that was one of the worries, like going into the season, was about Kyle Pitts' health, right? speaking of another person, Jamar Gibbs, what do you think about him and people that have him? And
He's just driving people crazy. He's not getting enough touches. David Montgomery's dominating that backfield, but he is a rookie. And when I see him touch the ball, he reminds me of, like, for people who've been playing for a little while, he reminds me of Jamal Charles. Just the way that he can be so dynamic on every touch. But it seems like the Lions are just like they're not rushing him. I think we have to be patient with rookies sometimes.
yeah, well, I mean, on the flip side of having Cal Pitts and the Scott Fishbowl, I also luckily picked up David Montgomery. So I'm okay with Jamar Gibbs not being that great. Did you expect David Montgomery to touch the ball as much as he has and be as good as he has been?
Hell no. No way. And I have my top three in my running back ranks on rotoballer.com this week. But the big
Yeah,
thing is that Detroit offense looks so good, and he's the main drive finisher for that offense. He gets the touchdowns at the end, and they're going to continue to move the ball, and he's going to continue to produce good fantasy numbers because why mess with something that's working?
right, exactly. Hey, I don't want them to mess with anything that's working. I mean, that seems to be my luck is having those type of players. Yeah, the ones that you don't expect to do good. All right, let's go to another one of my fantasy football tragedy stories of the year. And started a Browns fantasy football league. Wanted to donate to Fantasy Cares. We're going to donate all. I haven't even decided what we're going to donate yet, but when at the end we're going to donate money. We're all going to donate money.
Donating his money is cool. I actually got to talk to DK Metcalf the other night, and I told him that he has a charity called Prison Fellowship. And when I won my big money league a few years ago, Metcalf helped me win my championship. And I donated some of my winnings to his charity. And he really appreciated that. And Tyler Lockett was saying that was cool too because he was sitting there right there listening. And I always recommend doing that. Like when you win a fantasy football league, donate to the charity of a player that really helped you out so we can show appreciation for these guys that make our hobby, our pastime possible, because there are so many people out there that, like, attack players on social media, and it really gives us a bad name as fantasy players. Flip it the other way. When if somebody helps you win a championship, donate to that charity.
And you know what? This is the first year that I'm in the Scott Fish Bowl, a couple other charity leagues, and I'm an old school player, Scott. I only like to be in 2 or 3 leagues up until this year because I get really passionate about my players and I don't want to play against them. I want to just concentrate on the ones I have. But I'm in 11 leagues this year, so that's a lot for me. And I am competitive, and I didn't think that I would be as competitive in something that I'm not going to win from, but I am, and almost more because it does, because you are giving a charity, and it doesn't take away from the competitive side of fantasy. So I agree. I mean, I want to win so bad in the ones that are getting nothing for just the bragging rights alone, like this fantasy league I started with Browns fans.
Yeah, a lot of people just play fantasy football for the bragging rights over the money. Everybody's different. Like I'm
Yeah.
playing in the NFFC in the Silver Bullet. It's $1,200 entry, but
Mm-hmm.
there are leagues where I've had where I just like trash talking with my friends
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm in 18 leagues this year, so when you get into the industry like you are now, you get so many invites, and you're like, I can't turn that down. The Sirius XM host league, I can't turn that down. And the Scott Fishbowl, I can't turn that down. So people say, how do
Yeah.
you prioritize 18 leagues? I have a list, on my desk here, of most, every league. Okay, Tuesday night, these are waivers. These are waivers on Wednesday. I go through all my lineups, and then after like 3 weeks, I know intuitively in my head, where I don't even have to look at the list anymore about just
Yeah.
what leagues to review.
It's not as hard once you get your rhythm. Like Tuesday
Yeah.
night, let me go down. Let's do my waiver wires. Even though I'm going through a little bit of a fantasy football slump, I must admit, where
It's
I was being
early,
a little Debbie Downer, and I'm like, I don't feel like going through the waiver wire this week because there was nobody there, and you know what I mean. And
especially in these expert leagues, like the
yes,
Kings Classic, and you're in the Queens Classic. Like the waiver wire is just so barren. It's like I was
yes.
picking up Jake Bobo the other day.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Speaking of the waiver wire, and this also leads me back to my Browns league where I had the fifth pick in the draft, one quarterback league, 12-person PPR. I didn't think this was being cute. I was like, let me take Cooper Cup because I didn't have him in any other leagues. Um, I didn't get Puka Nakuka. I know that, but uh, when you have players like him, um, that that breakout in fantasy, does that take away from how much time we put into these first round picks and what we and you know and how we strategize?
Not really, because I think experienced people like yourself realize that the draft is just the beginning.
Right.
People will draft and they'll look at bye weeks and playoff schedules in week 14 to 15 to 16. Like, I don't even bother doing that because your team changes so much throughout the first few weeks, first half of the season. So, I think experienced players, savvy players know that you have to work the waiver wire. And some guys are disappointments right out of the gate. You're going to have major injuries. Nobody wanted to see that happen to Nick Chubb. But as fantasy players, we have to go out and make a hefty fab bid for Jerome Ford because, that's what we're supposed to do. None of us wanted to see Nick Chubb get injured, of course, especially like he did. I felt for you.
Yeah.
And but you never know when these injuries are going to happen. In fact, the best way to prepare for it is to make sure you always have the top NFL backups, the handcuffs to your starters on your roster. Like in the Scott Fish Bowl, I have Tony Pollard. I made sure I had Rico Dowdle. And I also made sure I had Deuce Vaughn because even though Dowdle is the main handcuff, Deuce Vaughn might play more of a role if Tony Pollard was, hope not, is going to suffer a big injury. And then, if you have Kyron Williams, you have to have Ronnie Rivers. So that's the way to, you know, uh, prepare ahead of time for that.
What do you think it's like for someone who's just starting out playing fantasy football? Because I have a couple people in some leagues that are starting for the first time. What do you think is like the most important thing that if you had to concentrate on and learn one skill just out the gate, what should you put your time and energy into
Well,
studying?
first off, don't draft with your heart. It's like I was talking to Seahawk fan the other day, and he's like, "Oh, I got Metcalf, I got Walker, I was trying to get Lockett." I'm like, that's fun, but that's not how you win your league. But I think the biggest skill you can take away is uh, that there's a few of them, but I think trading is one that even some experienced players just don't get right. Like making the fair offer in order to get the trade done. Like I'll see trades where people will offer like 3 for 1 all the time. People think if they stack up 3 guys for 1 guy, they'll get the trade done. I'm like, this is not Major League Baseball. We're not looking to build for the future. Give me back 3 guys and we'll look towards the future, etc. Yeah, give me a bunch of minor leaguers or whatever. 3 for 1 trades are usually bad offers that favor one side, and you don't get them done. 3 for 1 offers, I would say 80% of the time, don't get accepted in the leagues that I'm in. Some other leagues sometimes you get rip-off offers, but people always offer me trades, and I have one guy trying to convince me that he made a great trade offer because basically it came down to Kyle Pitts and George Kittle for Mark Andrews, and there were two other players included was a 4 for 4, where the first two players was a wash, but he was trying to build and send him four guys just to get upgraded tight end. And I said, it's a bad offer. I said, you're offering four underperforming players and doing it in a big package just to get Mark Andrews and trying to pretty it up with the amount of players. It's not going to work. So making a fair offer is really about finding the right team in your league, taking a look at the rosters, say, okay, I want to upgrade at running back, right? But I'm deep at wide receiver. Find the right trade partner first. A team that is needs wide receivers and is deep at running back. Then you got your trade partner. And then think about, okay, I'm on the other side. If I was on the other side of this deal, what would make me want to pull the trigger? And then it works. And then you got a better chance of doing it. Look, if you can rip somebody off in a deal, you do it. You know what I'm saying? We're all friends when we play fantasy football, but we're not friends when we're making trade offers and trying to win.
Yeah.
If you can rip somebody off, do it. But otherwise, there's an art to learning and building how to propose a proper trade to get it done. If you find yourself building a 3-for-1, stop.
I'm not a trader. I like I said, well, I've only like held usually two to three fantasy leagues, and up until now, I get offered a lot of trades. Nothing that makes me want to become a trader. So I guess the trades aren't good enough. How important is trading? And this is probably something I should be doing. It's my connection where I'm like, I get so scared where it's like, okay, I'm not going to give you someone and watch them have a day next week, because then I'm just going to beat myself up about it. I'd rather beat myself up about the player I drafted myself. I think I'm doing myself a discredit by not entertaining trade offers.
I think well for me it's like intuitive when I just look at one of my rosters like wow I have a bad hole there. I got to do something. And
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look at your rosters and you evaluate them and it just doesn't become like you don't trade just to trade. It's like if you realize that they just say here's just a situation that I can't seem to win with. I'm really weak at this position. Then you go ahead and make a deal. I don't make trades just to make trades. Like one of the guys in the game day, Adam Tabachnik, who's hosts our Caps Off podcast, which is really cool to watch. And I'll actually be guesting this week doing the fantasy segment. Um, Adam is always sending me trade offers that he's talking about where he wants to upgrade to like the top one or two wide receiver available. But I'm like, you don't need to do that. You don't have to have a superstar lineup. If your team is good as it is, you don't have to tweak with it. You don't have to f with it. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
saying consistency.
Not the consistency. Just looking at your lineup and saying, is that something I can live with, or is that a hole that I just can't live with?
Yeah, uh, like running back hole. I have a
Yeah,
ton of running back holes that
yeah.
I
Like
can't.
like if your top two running backs are say you have Kenneth Walker, but then your RB2 is say, for argument's sake, your RB2 is Javante Williams, or something like that. And, that's something I can't live with. I feel like I got to make a deal. And then if it's lower than that, if my RB2 is AJ Dillon, I'm like, I have to make a deal. Yeah.
All right, so there's a question here for you. Let's see. In the full PPR, Michael Wilson, Boyd, Higgins, what is that? Ramondre, I think. Herbert, Warren. I need one running back, one wide receiver, and one flex.
Okay. Keep that up on the screen. Uh, see, that's a roster I look at right there, and I say, okay, I need to make a trade. I don't like my running backs. I would probably go with Herbert, but Ramondre Stevenson has been a big disappointment. Uh, I doubt T. Higgins is going to play this week. I don't know for sure, but I don't think so. So I would start Boyd, and you could start. You could. I would start whatever. If Higgins plays, which I don't think he will, but I can't say for sure because I'm not a doctor. I'm just a fantasy analyst. If Higgins plays, you start him. If Boyd plays, if he doesn't, then Boyd is the guy using. And Michael Wilson's he's caught all of his 13 targets the last 2 weeks. I'd probably go with him at the other spot.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think about Higgins, and it just brings me to the Bengals and all together. And holy crap, did you expect them to suck so bad?
You say that with
Man!
you say that with so much joy.
Well, I mean, it was very joyful, especially the first game when they played the Browns.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
it's
I,
not
didn't
looking
expect it
better.
to be this bad. Even with Burrow not being 100%, the defense is playing pretty good. They're getting a nice pass rush, etc. But the key to success is that offense there. So without Burrow being 100%, Mixon not doing a whole lot, I am surprised. But it's I think it's going to get better though. I mean, I hate to tell you that, but I think it's going to get better.
Well, what about another team in the AFC North that is even worse than that team? And they're called the Pittsburgh Steelers. I see Kenny Pickett. What is it? Just like a little bruise for little hand Pickett. So it looks like he might be back with the team. What do you think about their pitiful offense and their pitiful defense, except for the one game where they played my team, but they took away Nick.
Well, actually, the defense hasn't been pitiful. It's been a great pass rush. The offense has been really mediocre. The early reports are suggesting that Pickett is going to play this week, but
Yeah.
it's really hard to start a lot of guys on the Steelers offense right now. Deontay Johnson out for a while. Pickens hasn't been reliable. He's not a number one NFL wide receiver. The running backs are putting up mediocre numbers. These are not your older brothers, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. The former Pittsburgh Steeler, I heard Mr. Chase Claypool that gave us the great line of the Browns is the Browns. I think they said bye-bye to him.
Yeah.
I like to say that too. We have another question, I think, from Alex. Is it safe to drop Pat Freiermuth? I have Sam Laporta, and I want to pick up Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah, he might be out a few weeks, so I think it is. And you have Laporta, he's been a top fantasy tight end. He's top 5 right now. I mean, coming out of the gate, he set an NFL record to be the only rookie tight end to have 5+ catches in each game, and he's been their number 2 pass catcher. So if you have Laporta, you're good until the Lions have a bye.
Yeah, there's my girl Lysandra from the Pod Squad. Laporta has been awesome. Hey, girl. She dropped Kenny Pickett. And the other girl in my other podcast, Juana, who I was going to throw this dig in since earlier when you talked about don't draft with your heart. But I think this was so cute because this was her first time playing fantasy football. She took the Browns defense like super early in the 6th round. And what are you going to do? But I mean, they were good, but
unless you have like the 49ers or maybe the Eagles, you use a different defense every week.
You stream, right? Yeah. I like to stream my defenses too.
Yeah.
What's this guy? 1, 2, 3, 10 PPR. I have
Ford, Godwin, Rashad White, too many Buccaneers, and Deshaun Watson on bye. Pick 2 for RBs: Jacobs, Herbert, Ramondre. Don't think you can use Ramondre right now. The way he's playing. Pick 3 with wide receiver flex: Jamar Chase, lock. I hate to say that on such a Brown show. AJ Brown, lock. T. Higgins, we don't know if he's playing, so it comes down to Garrett Wilson or Watson. Great draft that you had there. And wide receiver. You can use Wilson as a wide receiver 3. I do it. Zach Wilson is actually starting to look better, and they play against that terrible Denver defense this week. So I would go Chase, Brown, and Wilson.
Awesome. We got you something else right here.
Chris. Let's see. My trade ideas on my team. Was it too early to panic? Richardson, great quarterback 1. He's actually been fantasy QB 1 over the last 2 weeks. The last 2 games that he's played. Diggs, St. Brown, Walker. I don't know how many teams are in this league. ETN, Kamara, Goddard, Hall, Flowers, Dell, Fields, Bigby, Javante Williams. It's pretty good, but I think you have a tight end hole. You can probably trade from strength there.
Let's see.
Pacheco, Dell, or Flowers. Dell's actually got a tough matchup. The Atlanta defense has actually been better than people have expected. It's like a top 10 defense. That said, I'm still going with Tank Dell. What do you think of Tank Dell so far?
You know who like got me to like love Tank Dell? Devo from the pros, because he just was obsessed with him. So I did take him in a lot of dynasty leagues that I started for the first time, and I'm happy. I'll probably have to throw him into my starting lineup in a lot of my leagues because they're decimated with injuries. But
Stroud or Russell Wilson this week with Deshaun Watson injured and no bye. There's a possibility Watson might play from what I was reading today. So if he does play, I would probably start him. If not, I would go with Stroud, although I was writing on the GameDay.com today with my busts that it's a tough matchup. Like I was just saying, that Falcons defense is good. So if Watson plays, I would prefer him.
So speaking of Stroud, I just seen he's on his way for 51 passing yards. And this is somebody like, okay, so if you wait on quarterback in a one quarterback league and you pick up somebody like him, I mean, I don't know. I wish I had him.
He's a good pickup. He's looked sharp. He's looked poised. 2 touchdowns in each of the last 3 games and 2 300-yard games in that 3-game stretch. You're right. He's good.
Yes, he is. And he was from
OSU?
The Ohio State University.
I could go way back with one of my favorite Seahawks who played at Ohio State.
Who was that?
Joey Galloway.
Okay. I don't know if I remember Joey Galloway. I think the Seahawks have the tightest
mid-90s dynamic speed receiver.
Yeah.
They drafted him in the first round.
Speaking of Seahawks, I want to go back to them because wait a minute, do I have a graphic for this? I think I do, but I'm not going to get cute with it and move off of there.
Why not get cute with it? I'll see it.
You want to see what I got here?
I want to see what else you did.
Let's see what I did here. Okay. Wait, we have this little thing here. Hold on. All right, I think this is. Wait, hold on for a second.
Oh, here we go.
Ah.
Nice.
Ooh,
well done.
What happened to the one I made with all the sweet uniforms? My favorite uniforms, I love the lime green. That's why I'm spraying the lime green in the blue.
We actually call it action green.
Action green?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait, watch this. All right, so I didn't know which one to do. So one of the things I love is the fact that you're not a Browns fan. I'm talking to someone that we're not going to talk about the Browns. So this is a great time to learn a bit about the Seattle fan base. And so I made these 2 graphics. I didn't know which one I wanted to use. Well, first I wanted to use I think it's Montel Jordan, like, this is how we do it. That song was going to be like this is how we do it. Like, this is how we do it in our neck of the woods. And then, okay, so wait, this was my happy version of it. Hold on a second.
Nice.
Whoa. Okay. And then I have a dramatic.
You're doing very good with the graphics.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. There's more. Because I didn't know if I wanted to do the dramatic or like the.
I like the dramatic.
The dramatic.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to go with the dramatic. Well, I wanted to talk about the fan base, and I seen that. Oh wait, one more. Okay. Fun fact.
Ooh, that's lit.
Okay. Fun fact. The 11 sacks on Monday night, tied a
Oh, damn.
franchise record set in 1986. Other fun fact: the Seahawks are now 6-0 at MetLife Stadium, including Super Bowl 48.
6-0.
Yeah,
Well, that it. And the number, you mentioned number 11? I think that's the number of sacks that Daniel Jones took Monday night.
he actually took 10. The 11th sack was Devin Witherspoon. They Paris Campbell attempted to pass one time on Monday night, and he actually got sacked by Devin Witherspoon.
Well, even more symbolizing than the number 11 is the number 12, which is your fan base, right? What are they called?
Mm-hmm. The 12.
The 12.
Yep.
Okay. So that brings me to our game of the night, which is going to be 12, 12, 12. I don't know. I just made that up. I got some questions here, all right? And they're all having to do with the number 12, since that is okay. Let me talk a little.
That's very. I like how you do that, because when I write on Seahawks.com during the preseason, I'll give you my 12 favorite sleepers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
my
good.
12 drafting tips.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the number because it was December 15th, which is the same date my dog was born, 1984. The number 12 was forever retired in Seattle. A tribute to the best fans in the NFL, in case people didn't know that. So what do you guys call it? You guys call each other the 12th man, or the 12th?
The 12s.
12s.
Yeah.
All right. So, Scott, in that spirit, do you know what is the 12th letter in the Greek alphabet?
Oh, you got me there. It's like I didn't know this was going to be this kind of.
Oh, wait, I got some multiple choice for you. How do you like that?
Okay, all right, okay, that's better. Otherwise, I'd be SOL. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So is it beta, eta, rho, or HO, or mu? So what is the 12th letter in the Greek alphabet?
I don't know. The only thing I know is Apollo, like Apollo Creed. Yeah. I don't know. I'll take the last one.
Well, your last one's right. So there you go. Lucky number.
Oh, wow.
You.
Very
so
lucky.
You're 1 for 1. How do you like that?
Okay, I thought it was going to be 0 for 3 there.
All right. In a periodic table, which element has the atomic number 12? And I have some choices for you. Okay. Oxygen, iron, calcium, or magnesium? I'm
going to say magnesium.
You're 2 for 2.
Get out.
Woo! All right. I gotta get you on. All right. Who directed the 1957 film 12 Angry Men, which I love, and I love to be on jury duty, which starred Henry Fonda.
How many people ever said that? I love to be on jury duty.
Oh my gosh. They stand up when you come in. They stand up. It was the best. I was only on one time, but it was like I
was on one time, and they made me foreman.
Oh
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It wasn't a good thing though, because then when I read the verdict, like the guy was glaring at me, the defendant, so it wasn't good.
Yeah. After it's over, you kind of feel dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Anyways, in the trial, it's in the movie The 12 Angry Men, which starred Henry Fonda. It's about a trial of a teenage boy accused of murdering his father. Who directed that movie? I'm going to give you 4 choices. Was it Woody Allen, Cecil B. DeMille, Sidney Lumet, or Alfred Hitchcock? And this was in 1957.
I'm down to DeMille and Hitchcock. I'm going to say Hitchcock.
That is wrong. It's Sidney Lumet, whoever, yeah. But that was the guess one. All right.
I saw that movie when I was in college. Like, not that I was going to college in 1957, but they made us watch that old movie when I was in college.
All right. What is the name given to the product of 12 multiplied by itself? I have 4 choices. Is it a gross, a grand, a score, or a brace? It is the name given to the product of 12 multiplied by itself.
I'm going to say gross.
You're right. I think it is gross. I didn't know that.
3 out of 4 so far. Not bad.
Pretty good. The number 12 is a a pretty popular number when it comes to some pretty big athletes of the NFL. I
Oh
saw
yeah.
an article by NFL.com, and they gave me the top 12 athletes with the number 12. So
I can name one right off the
let's see
top of my
how
head.
many you have. Go ahead.
I have to guess who they were.
Yes, I want to see how many of the top players you can get.
Are they just NFL or are they any sport?
Just NFL. I think so.
Joe Namath has to be like number one.
Joe Namath is on the list. Yes.
Who else wore 12?
So I have a fur coat that's just like Joe Namath's fur coat that he wears.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow. Was Jim Kelly 12?
Jim Kelly's 12. He's on there.
Okay. Obviously, like most of these are quarterbacks, right?
Right. You didn't go.
Yeah.
You didn't go for the obvious easiest one.
Well, that was Joe Namath. That's the obvious easiest one.
There's somebody. You think there's somebody? I think there's somebody even more popular than Joe Namath on this list. Maybe two people.
Okay, hold on. I'm thinking through the teams in my head. Namath was the Jets. Kelly, I already got two from the AFC East. Was Terry Bradshaw a 12?
Terry, yes, he was.
Okay. Who was Bernie Kosar a 12?
No. 19,
no. Okay.
right?
Sorry about that. Sorry. I apologize.
Wait, listen, really quick. This is so funny. So Sunday I tailgated and I did a shot of tequila, right? And somebody said, Bernie Kosar is here, which he was. He was out of the tailgate where I was. So I went over to this guy and I seen him and I'm like, Bernie, what's up? I'm from your hometown. And he turned around and talked to him. And yeah, it wasn't Bernie Kosar.
It wasn't him, though.
No.
Somebody thought it was Bernie Kosar. Oh, wait. Who's it? Giants was Phil Simms was 11. So that's not one of them. Was Roger Staubach 12?
Roger Staubach. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Eagles. Maybe Ron Jaworski?
I don't see him.
I don't think so. No, Jaworski was 7, actually. I'm wrong there. Nobody on the Lions was that popular. 12. Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton certainly wasn't 12. I'm obviously the 12th man, the fan.
And that was on the list. That has
to be on the list.
Yes, it was. You got a lot of them.
I think I've run out. I think I've run out, actually.
All right. What about there's Bill Belichick, Tampa Bay, Giselle Bundchen.
Oh wait,
any of that?
Am I leaving out Brady? Just
Oh yeah. Okay. What about? Let me step into the darkness. Jets, no longer. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think number 12, but I'm thinking Aaron Rodgers because I'm here in New York and everybody was wearing number 8. Yeah.
Yes. I think it was Aaron Rodgers. Roger Staubach. Did I say?
Yeah, Brady wasn't 12. No.
Tom Brady's number 12.
No, he's not.
Yes,
he's number 1. He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. I should say it in my Boston accent. But down here on Dot Avenue, he's the friggin' GOAT, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You said Jim Kelly, didn't you? Randall Cunningham.
I did say
Ken
Randall.
Stabler.
I got Ken Cunningham wrong. Ken Stabler was
12. Doug Williams.
Yeah. What's that?
Doug Williams.
Oh yeah, Doug Williams won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers.
Bob Greasy. I can't read my own writing. John Brody, Ken Stabler.
Yeah, this is real football history. I mean, Greasy. You're talking like the early 70s.
Well, like
that's when the Dolphins were last good, right? Before this year.
The offense was pretty good this year. I mean, they have the 2 top running backs.
They scored 70 points. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Who do you guys play this week?
Nobody. We played. They have the bye week. The,
Oh,
the,
the
Se-
Browns are on the bye this week
the
too.
Seahawks, Browns, Buccaneers, and Chargers are all on a bye.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
So what do you do when your team's on the bye? You still work, right?
I still work because it's fantasy football, and
Yeah.
you got to start recommending fill-ins, for lineups because nobody's going to have an ideal lineup this week. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, I'm getting killed by the buys." Everybody gets killed by the buys.
Yeah. Yeah. Although at the beginning of the year as a Browns fan, I wasn't happy with the early fourth week bye, but now with the injury to Deshaun Watson, and I'm kind of happy.
Oh yeah, you know what? I answered that question wrong about if Watson plays this week, start him. Like, what am I thinking? It's he's obviously on bye, so you can't start him. So that person that asked that question, you got to start C.J. Stroud.
Which C.J. Stroud looks
oh
pretty good.
Oh my God, I'm so dumb.
I didn't catch it either. I was too worried about controlling everything, doing the comments and paying attention to that. So I'm pretty good.
You know what? It's a lot to host. People don't realize. And when I started doing Sirius XM, I really realized, and I'm on Sirius XM Fantasy Radio every Saturday with Rotoballer Radio 5 to 6. It's really a lot to host. Like, people will see something and be like, "Oh, I could do that," because I watch TV. I could be a broadcaster. It's really a lot to handle, and you're kind of saying that yourself. It's not easy because you got to do the graphics. You have to. You're basically being a host and producer, so that's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm so appreciative of people like you that are nice enough to slim down and come on a podcast like this one. I'm just learning and trying to.
I'm glad you asked me. It's like I always tease my friend Mike Florio at Rotoballer and NFL Network. It's not like you had to go through my publicity person or anything. I'd come on with you anytime.
Great. I appreciate it. We're almost at, we're done. I'm going on, like I said, 9 o'clock. I'm going to hang out with the women of fantasy football tonight. So we could try to eat some dinner in between. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. You coming on and
anytime.
Yes, I thank you for all your help with all the questions and
sure.
I had a great time tonight.
Sure, me too.
You guys can catch him on Twitter. I'm going to put a link to your Twitter page into your article on my website. So you can go to bougiesports.com too to see that. Like I said, next week we're back with the squad pod and got a week off from the Browns.
Week off from the Seahawks.
Week off from the Seahawks. Yeah.
And the Buccaneers and the Chargers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you again, Scott, for coming on. I appreciate it. Go Browns. Bye, guys. Hit subscribe.